Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Deborah Daughter 7. I am doing a topic request today, and the topic request is about fear. It was in the context of another video, and it was about fear of dying, fear of the unknown. Human beings are, quite fearful creatures. Human beings actually have very fragile spirits. Like, our spirits get easily bruised and they easily damaged. The reason why we fear so easily is, in a nutshell, that's what we're conditioned to. We're born in the world processes. That's how the collective consciousness of the entire world thinks. That's how the methods of control for the masses are invoked through fear. Like, I'm going to give you an example. 2012, the Illuminati, all of these things, the propaganda that's fed with it is that it's a fearful thing. The first thing they did when, light workers and, truth seekers and everybody was realizing that 2012 was this type of spiritual awakening, and it's an energy that goes along with it. It's a waking up of people from slumber of not knowing who they are and why they're here. Before you can even get that message out there, you had 2012 as the end of the world, because that's the date that the Mayan calendar cut off. And what are people going to do? They're going to be scared. They're going to fear something that they don't understand. Just like 2012, just like the Illuminati. Now, I have no doubt that the things that get put out there for the availability of the masses to know about the Illuminati are planted there purposely, because even though they might be giving you tidbits of truth about the situation, number one, purpose is hidden. Number two, the average person is going to be fearful of the Illuminati. Oh, yeah, they control the media. They control the music. I mean, and it's way bigger than that. And I'm going to try to put a link to a blog that I read from a member of the quote-unquote Illuminati that had such a different perspective of the Illuminati's purpose. It was really something to think about. But anyway, let me get into fear. Okay, so I wrote some notes. Now, you guys know I usually don't take notes, but I have been lack of focusing lately, and I'm just in a mood. I'm in a mood today. Okay, so the first thing in my notes are, there are only two true emotions: love and fear. Everything stems from fear. Anger, frustration, malice, revenge. All of these stem from fear. Spite, jealousy, every negative emotion. That emotion is what's on the surface. Jealousy. Why are you jealous? Because you're scared. You're fearful that you might lose the person that you want to be with. So you act in a jealous manner. You're angry. You're angry because you're scared that you're going to lose control of a situation. You're responding with anger because somebody else is trying to control your life. But deep down inside, you're scared that you won't have any control anymore. Okay, so that's the basis of fear. And as long as powers that be understand the psychology of the human soul and spirit, the masses will always be controlled with fear. So, one of the reasons why is it's easier to react negatively than to react positively. No other reason than that's habit. That's habit for the masses. That's habit for the majority. Most people are conditioned to it. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. When you're a little kid and you do something wrong, how does your mother react? Does she react positively or does she react negatively? The kids Kids just naturally test their boundaries. Just naturally see what they can do and what they can't do. But mothers, myself included, I'm just realizing this though. Mothers react negatively all the time. So it becomes a conditioning where your first reaction when there's a wrong thing is to react negatively. The term conditioned to it means that it was basically everything that you were ever taught by observing, by literally taught, and by observing other people do it. Not only that, but in terms of the chakras, okay, I'm gonna dive into the chakras right quick. The first three chakras are automatically open. You know what I'm saying? These are the ones that come automatically kind of roaring and ready to go. The heart chakra comes open too. But generally when people have bad experience after bad experience after bad experience, negativity after negativity, the heart chakra tends to be harder to open. It tends to be more closed than that. The root chakra is open for everybody, okay? It's a survival instinct. It's the autonomic fight or flight located in your adrenal glands. It's something that's happened. The first thing you do when you get angry, your heart starts beating fast, you feel that adrenaline. You know, any type of negative emotion, you get that automatic response. Religion is fear-based. It is. And mostly the majority of Americans are Christians, and they're born into a type of conditioning that's based on fear. To fear God, to fear hell, oh my God, to be scared to death of the devil. And even when you try to get out of, having power over the devil, it's still based on fear. It's still based on hell is at the end of the goddamn line. Bottom line. And the only way to escape that is salvation through Jesus Christ. It's the only way. The fear is going to keep you present in that way of thinking because you would rather do that and have a surefire way to avoid discomfort than step outside of that and possibly still go to fucking hell. Most people don't want to even fathom the possibility of going to hell, even though they know that through the Bible, every characteristic of their being is hell worthy. Everybody knows that. So you got that. Now, the conditioning comes when you're little, like I said before, but I'm going to give you an example, right? I'm going to give you two examples. I was watching Lady in the Tramp last week, right? Okay, so now this is a children's story. This is rated G, right? It's some spooky, scary, fucked upness going on in Lady in the Tramp, y'all. Okay, so I was watching the part where Lady got put in the pound, right? And she was meeting all the pound dogs. One of the dogs was getting put down, and he's all scared, and the dogs are all scared, and they like, what's that? And they're like, yeah, he's going for that last hurrah. And she's like, oh my God, basically, to be putting this bluntly, yeah, they're going to kill him. And do you see how all those dogs reacted? They reacted with a fear of death, correct? Okay. 9 times out of 10, the person that wrote Lady in the Tramp has a fear of death. Everybody has a damn fear of death. But, okay, I'm a 6-year-old, and I'm sitting there watching that. What is this teaching me? Teaching me to be scared of death. You're conditioned to be scared. You're conditioned to fear the unknown. You're conditioned to fear death. It's conditioned. It's, anytime you watch a cartoon and somebody dies, they play the sad music. Because that's the way society is. That's the way we were taught. We were taught to fear death. Now, I found another observation of Lady in the Tramp that I pointed out to a friend of mine. So, right after they did they found out she in the pound because of the tramp. And the little trampy, little blind dog was like, what a tramp. He's a tramp. And she get to singing. Right before that, they were talking about how big of a player he was. And, he's a street nigga. He's a street dog. I'm just telling you how you get conditioned to wanting the bad boy. He slept with Mimi and Roxy and Fifi and the little Chihuahua's little sister. And and a lady was in love with him, wasn't she? Everything. She was a good girl from the suburbs, upstanding citizen, had her license and everything. And here come this street nigga. He's stealing bones. He going in garbage can. He doing everything, breaking the law, doing what he ain't supposed to be doing. And she done fell in love with him. And it's okay. Because in the end, he became very protective and he changed. I'm telling you, the fairy tale gets embedded right here. And you grew up thinking, even if he's a little rough around the edges, the fact that he loved you will save the day, and it will cause him to morph into something desirable for you to bring home to your owners, aka your parents, But just that feeling of the unknown, okay? You go to a job interview. You don't know if you're going to get the job. You don't know nothing. You don't know the people that you're going to react to. You don't know how they're going to react. You don't know what questions they're going to ask you. What are you? You're nervous, right? Heart racing. You feel fear. This is a natural occurrence. False evidence appearing real. Worrying about shit that you have no control over. This is where submitting to God's will comes in, because you have no control over it. If you truly submit it, you would never worry about it, because you know it's not in your hands. As long as you're doing what you need to do for yourself, you can't worry about that. But instead of looking at that bigger picture of God's will, most people zero in on that fear, because they don't like that feeling. The feeling is it's not a good feeling. Who want to feel all their stomach hurt, all queasy, like they about to throw up? Who wants to feel that? Who want to even sit there and marinate in that feeling? No. Most people want to run away from that feeling because they just don't like the way it feels. Okay, so who want to do something that feel bad? Who won't think about something that's going to make them feel that nervous, queasy feeling? In our quest to feel good about things, we kind of take the shortcut. And I'm going to tell you why. You know that old saying, the road to heaven is narrow, the road to hell is wide. The road to hell is wide, and it's paved with good intentions. What I mean by we try to take the shortcut is we don't want to deal with fear and suffering, so we run from fear and suffering. The reason why that does not work is because fear and suffering causes more fear and suffering. The more you run from it, the more suffering you're going to have. The more you don't turn around and face that fear, the more that fear is going to follow you. Whatever fear that you might have. I have a cousin right now who cannot even attend a funeral because he developed the phobia of death a long time ago. It freaks him out because deep down inside, okay, now don't get me wrong, he's a Christian. Deep down inside, he don't trust what they telling him. He don't trust it. You know why? Because there's so many holes in it. It's like unconsciously, you don't trust it because there's too many holes in it for it to be rock solid. Bam. This is it. This is that. He don't trust it. He don't know because he don't exactly know what happens when you die, because you hear so many contradictions. Even in the realms of Christianity, you have contradictions. You got some denominations who believe that your works get you into heaven. Others who believe your salvation gets you into heaven. That's just the easiest thing to believe. I can be a fuck up, but as long as I believe that Jesus died for my sins, hallelujah, then I am going to go into those pearly gates. Meanwhile, you're still a fuck up. Meanwhile, you're still in the midst of your miserable existence and you're suffering because you're running from it. So I wrote this. I wrote, you can never achieve oneness. Oneness with source, oneness with God, oneness with the universe. You can never achieve oneness and truly be at peace as long as you operate from a place of fear. Unfortunately, the fact that you're conditioned to it honestly means that you have to unlearn everything that you've ever learned. You have to pick it apart and see where it comes from and see why it's there and see what the bigger picture is. A lot of people don't want to do that. They just don't give a fuck. They just don't care. But they steady running to God. Oh, God, help me. Oh, God, this don't feel good. Take it away, God. Oh, God, this marriage is just so awful. And God, change him. Change him so he won't beat me no more. And then they have faith. They're happy for the moment, but then they go home and that nigga still beating on them. And then they spend a whole week in hell. And then they go to church on Sunday and they're in heaven for a little while because they're getting away from it. And it's a whole positive environment when they don't realize the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You know what that means? It's right there inside of you. It's always been right there inside of you. You've always had access to it. It's just that you so busy running somewhere looking for it outside of you that you don't even realize the kingdom of heaven is right in hand. The peace that you're seeking outside of yourself is already in yourself. You just have to choose to access it or not. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit in here about getting rid of fear. First of all, fear is an illusion. It's an illusion. That was one of the first things I learned was it's an illusion. It's not real. It's designed to give you the option of choice. It's designed to be the contrast against happy, against peaceful, against sunny day. It gotta rain sometimes so you can appreciate the sun. It's there to help you and to motivate you and to give you those options of fork in the road, left or right, left or right, left or right. So on the one hand, you do have that fear. It has its purpose, but you're fearful of it because you have forgotten how powerful you are. As God incarnate, dearie, you have all the power. You have access to all that power. You just don't know how to access it because you're so consumed in fear. Fear of, I'm just a human being. We all just humans. Humans make mistakes. Yeah, and as long as you keep saying humans make mistakes, you're going to keep making mistakes because you're buying into it. Because your thoughts are creating your reality. Your actions, your words are creating your reality. I'm just human. Humans make mistakes, God's ways are not our ways. We don't know God's ways. Well, if we're God incarnate, if we're pieces and sparks of the Creator that are encased in these bodies, then what make you think that, it's not in you to know? Anyway, I'm just saying. Okay, so I'm going to put the link to this video I was watching today from the Elohim channel. I love this channel. It's one of my teaching channels. When I want to get a message from the universe, I turn on this channel. It's this lady that channels, psychically channels a council of spiritual beings. Do I believe that she channels them? I don't really care. I just like the message that they talk about. It's truth. It's truth in its purest form. Okay, so one thing she said, steps to overcoming fear, is getting rid of the shadows. What this means is stand in your truth. Every time you have an opportunity to make a decision, identify what is truth. Okay? And be perfectly honest with you. This is one of the reasons why I left the church. Because when I got confronted with my own questions that I knew I didn't have answers to, instead of me pushing it and sweeping it under the rug and keep going forward, I'm a really nosy person. I'm like, I need to know these answers. So I began to seek these answers. That was my truth. That was my truth. I'm not knocking anybody who sweeps it under the rug, but I couldn't do it. For me to turn my back on me is for me to turn my back on the God in me, the essence of who I am, the powerful co-creator that I am. I'm going to just turn my back on that. Standing in your truth, getting rid of the shadows. The first thing you need to do. Okay, I'm going to tell you the biggest thing that I had to get unconditioned to was the fear of hell. That was one of the first things that I had to get unconditioned to, because I couldn't be open to receive any information about the truth as long as this fear was blocking it. I could, any blessings that I would get, any information, any revelations that I would get, I had to get rid of that fear, because that fear was on me. It was all over me. And even though I was tiptoeing out of it with the church finger up, it was kind of like, okay, God, now me and you was cool, right? I always had a good relationship with you. We talk, we kick it, we rap. We have spent intimate moments together. You have just loved me and rocked me and held me in the darkest of nights when I was all alone and nobody else. You were there holding me, and I could feel you just caressing my arms and letting me lay on your spiritual shoulder. Okay, God, all right. So we got a personal relationship, right? Can I ask you a question? I know they told me I wasn't supposed to, but if we got a relationship, we supposed to be able to talk, right? Then I ask my questions. I had to get over the fear of hell in order to even ask the question, because you're not supposed to question God. You're not supposed to. And, I kind of did one of these numbers. Can I? Whoa. Get struck down. I'm still here. Not only was I still here, but I started getting the answers. It was like, whoa, I'm telling y'all. It was like books. Like damn near like they fell out the sky. Woo! Opening up. This is the question I asked God last week. So for me, I'm just giving you my testimony right quick. Hallelujah. But for me, it was like, well, how can this be wrong if I'm getting the answers? I'm not misguided. I'm not demonic. I'm generally loving on God and God loving on me. But the shadows is a lot of times what keep people in fear. What is a shadow? A shadow is a thing that you don't want somebody else to know about. It's a thing that you're hiding from, that you've hidden from yourself. You pushed it so far down. It could be trauma. It could be a truth. It could be a personality trait that you don't like and you try to hide it. It could be something you feel deep down inside, but you think you're weird because nobody you ever talk to feels that way. So you just, go along with what everybody else is doing. You Mickey Mouse and you following the parade. And you don't do what everybody else is doing. So these shadows, and you bury them, and you bury them, and you bury them. And you've hidden it. You hid it. You pushed it. I'm telling you. You put it in a box in your brain. That's what your brain did. Your brain put it in a box, sealed it up, put it in another box, put a lock on that box, put it in a bigger box, put some chains around that box, put it in a bigger box, push it in a closet in your brain, and close the door. Who is it? Who is it? Oh my God, I know. I know this door ain't locked. Who knocked on this door? Who knocked on this door? Why? Don't knock on my door. Please don't. Little babies, kids, they need to be. I was finna say they need to be doing some homework, but today is Columbus Day. They need to be studying shit. So, anyway, it could be anything. It could be you really don't like the way you look. You don't feel good about yourself. You got molested as a kid. You're a bit of a hoe. I'm a little bit of a hoe. But, The average person does not admit the things that they do that would not be deemed politically correct, socially acceptable. They bury them. They don't want to be judged. Fear of being judged, fear. They're ashamed, they're embarrassed. So, if you embrace your truth and be open and honest at all times, I'm telling you, this is how you get rid of fear. You just, if I'm going to hell for being gay, then damn it, I'm still making my choice and I choose to go to hell because I can't help who I am. That's your truth. Stand in that shit. There's nothing wrong with it. I know deep down inside there's fear there. There's fear of God. Like, there's fear of God striking your ass and damning your soul to all eternal torture. I understand that. But I'm telling you, just get rid of the preconceived notions. Just ponder the possibility that that might not be what happens, okay? Not from an unconditionally loving God. Because to me, how can you say God is unconditional? Unconditional. I'm going to get into that. That's another video about unconditional love because I just don't understand. This is what got me out of fear. If God loves me unconditionally, that's not, sending me to hell is not unconditional love. Sending me to hell is like, I love you as long as you do this. But as soon as you don't do this, I'm not fucking with you for the rest of goddamn eternity. Who does that? I said, who in the holy fuck does that? What type of God says they're unconditional but then sends you to hell? Is that not a contradiction? Is that not a contradiction to the 10th degree? That don't even sound right. Something got to be. That's when I start looking at the fear. It's got to be some type of fuckery going on. There's some trickery in this. Okay, so, all right. I think that I'm going to cut this video off, and I think I have explained why we have fear, gave you a little bit on how to get past fear, and I hope that you enjoy the video and that there is something in the video that touches you, that touches your spirit to begin to stand in your own truth. All right, this is Deborah Daughter 7 signing off. Please leave me some comments. I love to talk. Please, I want to know what you're thinking. What are you thinking right now? Are you thinking this is some bullshit? And even if you are, just, leave me a comment. All right, honeys.